Welcome to Kino Society with Owen Shapiro. In today's episode, we have Austrian cinematographer Sebastian Thaler, who shoots with a lucid intimacy that makes him a talent to watch. Thaler is set next to commence production on a new arthouse feature coming in fall 2021 called Utopia. Welcome to Kino Society.
Hi, thank you for having me.
What made you want to get a career in the film industry?
That's a difficult question because I grew up with my parents, which are both filmmakers, like my father, who's also a cinematographer, and my mother, which was working in the production. And I was growing up with film topics in our family and dinner tables, so I just grew up with it. And but I can't say if I was actively deciding to be also a cinematographer, it just happened.
So was cinematographer the thing that you thought you wanted to do as soon as you knew you wanted to get a job in the film industry?
Yeah, because when I was listening to music, when I was young, at teenage, let's say ages, I saw always images when I was listening to music, and I thought maybe it would be nice to trying to recreate that images in a story that I see. So that got my attention to that, and so I started to make pictures, photography, and then I got to the Film Academy in Vienna.
You're mostly based in Europe, so is there any big differences between how filmmaking or just production in general occurs in Europe in comparison to other countries?
I think of course it's different because Europe has a different tradition of making movies, but we also have to deal with lower budgets. So we always try to solve problems in a different way to get the same result. So it's I would say that's the kind of difference.
Do you think that having lower budgets usually makes you get more creative?
Can be, because you have to when you face a problem or an issue, you have to come up with an idea which maybe you never thought before, because you could have, I don't know, a technocrane or whatever. And if you can't get it, you try to find a different kind of solution, and sometimes or more often it's the better one.
Would you prefer working on films that have higher budgets or lower budgets that force you to work your mind more?
I would say it depends on the story, what the story needs. Sometimes, of course, you need the technical background to produce that story, to create that story, and to create that images. It really depends on the story and the script.
So, what kind of talent and what kind of talent does your job require?
I think to be a cinematographer, first of all, you have really to have a good empathy to other people, like to understand their state of feeling at the moment, especially in documentaries, where you have to find out if you can cross a certain border or if you have to step back at that moment when you film the scene. So I think that's one thing that you have to have. The other one is, like, of course, to be a good observer. And it's not about the technical stuff, because this you can all learn, but I think the most important stuff is really to observe people and trying to get into their let's say into the inner circle, where you can understand if they feel comfortable with you being that close, when you're close with the camera to them or not. So I guess that's like very important.
So, do you have any preferences in the kinds of films you like to work on?
Preferences. It really depends on the story. I really like stories which are very close to their psychological problems that some people face. So I really like character-driven movies.
Do you think like interaction with the director really helps cinematography, or are you more of a lone? You prefer to have lone creativity on that?
It depends on the director, of course, but sometimes it's nice to get freedom when you create images. Sometimes it's very important to work with the director and to get to understand his vision, because of course everybody has his own vision. But for example, on 7500, I had almost free, let's say, I could move freely and create the images freely, how I like them.
Which of your works are you most proud of? You already mentioned that you mostly lean towards psychological affairs, so
I really like Everything Will Be Okay. It's a short movie, because it's a small story between the father and his daughter. And the other movie, what I really like, of course, is also Falling, which has to do with, it's a story with a coming of age story between a young love and a girl which, doesn't know which direction she wants to go in her life. And, there's also 7500, which where we, exploring the deeper conflicts of people when they have, let's say, when they get rules from outside, but their inner feelings are disrupting them to follow the rules that they were giving.
what do you think draws you towards those kinds of movies, particularly because they're not really what people think of when they hear profound cinematography?
I think it's my interest in people, how they think, how they react on certain problems, or how they would solve a certain problem in their life. Because of course we are all people which are searching for the sense of life. And if you work on projects which make you richer in that particular topic, that can expand your, let's say, knowledge about life, or let's say just like to get a small feeling what life could be or what life could mean, that I think it's something what really attracts me and interests me.
Which of your works is most challenging to pull off?
I think the most challenging until now was 7500.
What kind of film is 7500?
7500 is, let's say, it's a feature film, but it's made like a documentary, and we were trying to recreate a feeling. Like the director was telling me, I want that the audience feels that the cameraman was stuck in the cockpit. So that was the first sentence when I got the script from him. And what we tried there is, we tried long scenes without any interrupting by the director or by marks or by whatever. So we were filming certain scenes which were almost 50 minutes long. So that was quite challenging to foresee the movements of the actors, to pre-light everything, where they could go, how would they act there. So that was quite challenging to recreate that realistic environment of the cockpit, especially for a feature film.
You think it's harder to work with more man-made films or films that have a lot more man-made objects in them or take place in urban locations than more natural environments?
It really depends on the story. It can be easy to shoot something with one character in the desert, and it can be the same time more challenging to shoot, I don't know, a scene with two people sitting in front in a cafe. So it really depends on the story and what the director's vision is.
Do you have any, there are a few more questions about you now, just you personally. Do you have any favorite movies or cinematographers?
Some of my favorite movies are like from Tarkovsky. I really like, for example, his movies because they're very slowly trying to get you to the characters, and of course we would never do these movies right now like he did, but it's very interesting to watch how he were directing the actors to move, where exactly the marks they had to hit, how he created in one image triangles, two angles with people. So that's very, very interesting for me, how they were doing the movies in the past times. It's for sure movies that are hard to watch now because we are always used to very fast edits and cuts, and but it's really nice to slow down and really get into it, to the movies. Of course I like other movies too, but my favorite cinematographer is I think it's Kaminski.
What movies did he work on?
He was making all Spielberg movies, and what I like is his style of lighting. Like every frame that he creates or he lights, it's really like a painting. He really precisely lights every frame and corner of his composition.
Tarkovsky is definitely really great. His films are kind of perfect slow burn. They're especially Stalker. That one's probably my favorite of his. So, what would you say to someone who wants to enter the world of cinema?
I think the most important thing is the story, and it can be filmed with anything, with the iPhone or whatever. If the story is catching you and is making the people reflect on what they see, I think that's the main goal to start with. All this technical stuff, all this red Alexas, whatever, is not important. Really important is the story, and to catch and to get the audience to reflect on what they see.
As I mentioned before, your new film that you've worked on, Utopia, is coming out in fall. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Not much yet, because it's a bit the script which is locked up, but it will have a certain kind of approach to the filming style. We will try to really improvise and control the scene during the night shifts, and to really stick to the characters and try not to, let's say, leave any seconds without filming them. So that will be our main, let's say, approach, how we will work on that movie, but I can't say anything more.
Do you have any other current projects?
At the moment, I'm filming a small Austrian TV series, drama. It's about 4 women which are trying to solve a murder for one child.
And last but not least, how can my listeners find and connect with you?
I have an Instagram account. I'm on Facebook, and of course over my website. People can write me and ask if they want.
All right. Thank you so much for being here today, Sebastian.
Thank you very much for inviting.
Yeah, and that's everything. Don't forget you can subscribe to Kino Society on iTunes and Spotify.